Hello and welcome to Higher Ground Gaming. This is Eric. Today I'm going to do another follow-up of my top 50 board games now. Well, it's top 100 board games, but this is 50 to 41. And this is basically a recap of what we did last Sunday with ID Gesture, Phoenix Knight, and Lower Slower Board Gamer. So I'm going to go through this a little probably more quickly than I normally do, but I just wanted to get a copy of the 50 to 41 on my channel. So without further ado, let's get her done. All right. So starting at number 50 is it's not really a work replacement game, but it is a game about colonization in the New World, and it is a game called Santa Maria. All right, so here's Santa Maria. It's overall 412, strategy 259. Came out in 2017. It's by Elif Svensson and Christian Amundsen Otsby. Say that 3 times fast. It's a game from 1 to 4 players. It's a medium weight game, 45 to 90 minutes, and it is a game in which you're going to be building your tableau. Dice drafting is in it. Medium weight Euro game in which player establishes and develops a colony. The game features elements of dice drafting and strategic engine building. The game is low on luck and has no direct destructive player conflict. All components are language independent. So some good stuff there. As you can see here, it does the different mechanisms. Dice rolling, open drafting, set collection, tile placement. Tile placement is a big part of it too, as you'll see. Variable player powers. So let me show you some of the pictures in the game. All right, there we go. So this basically is a player board here, and this is after the round has taken place. You basically are going to draft mostly the white die, but there's a few blue die in it, and you can unlock extra blue die. So basically the white die you're going to draft, and you can modify the pit value on it, but for the most part you take what it is. And so for instance, this 3 right here, you would start up top here and go down the column, and you'd activate each little thing in here. Some might be getting resources, some might be going up on different tracks, like a religion track or a conquistador track. As you can see here, there are tiles that you place on here too. So some of them, the player boards come with some tiles already, built into your player board, but you add others to like fill it out. And basically what you do is you just go down the column until you get to the end of the row, and then your die stays there. The only thing is that when your die stays on a certain spot, it blocks that spot for the rest of the round. So in other words, if you were to do a column of 6 right here, those 2 spaces that have the white die on them, if you played those before the blue die, you wouldn't be able to activate those particular spots. So and these other spots with coins on them, you can pay money to activate spots individually. The first time you activate a spot, it's 1 coin. Second time, 2 coins. Third time, 3 coins. Resources are very tight in this. You can only hold, I think it's up to 3 of each resource. You're going to also be fulfilling contracts. Let me show you the actual main board here. That's the main board in the middle. I'll try to get a better thing of that. But these are these blue things are the contracts that you fulfill. And they add powers and victory points. Benefits that you have. Let's see here. Let's see if we can get a close-up on this. Happiness points are your victory points in the game. That's a little bit better, I guess. Yeah, that's too close. So basically, these are tracks here. This top track here is a religion track, which you go up on, and by activating the prayer hands, and you can add wheat to it to go extra spaces. And this in this track, you unlock die on it. Like this, you get to the, I think, 4th spot, and you unlock a blue die. I think there may be another, maybe not. But there's different spots here where you unlock also little bonuses, which you can take and put towards end game bonuses or player powers you can add to in the game, and that does not reset between each round of the game. Or does it? No, that one doesn't. The Conquistador track is your second track, which does reset every round, and depending upon who comes in first, second, or third, depending upon how many players are in the game, you'll get bonus points there, and then that does get reset. You can also get gold from the Conquistador track. On the left side here are 4 different types of contracts here, which you can unlock in different, which you can fulfill. And let's see here. And then down below, this is after you drafted all the die and you pass at the end of your round, you pick a bonus at the end, and depending upon, this will also determine the player order for the next round. So it's dice drafting, and you can also buy tiles for your player board here. This one doesn't have any tiles on it, but there's a market for tiles, which is going to change from round to round. There's like an L-shaped tile, a 3 tile, and then there's a 2 tile, and there are one space tiles. And on this grid right here is where you're going to place the tiles, and they'll increase the amount of actions you can take. So that's pretty cool. So you're basically colonizing and building your colony, and this right here shows the different victory points you're going to get at the end of the game. These are the backs of the contracts. So depending upon, you also score for each column of tiles in the game too, so you'll get bonus points for fulfilling columns. And depending upon how many contracts you fulfill each round, like this top one will give you, for each tile you have here, it'll give you 2 points at the beginning of the next round, or at the end of the previous round. This one I think gives you, discounts on shipping or something like that. Some gives you bonus happiness points. Some give you resources, different things like that. You can also trade resources in the game too. Money is fairly tight in the game. All right, so that is my number 50, and that is Santa Maria. All right, so moving right along, my number 49. And here's number 50 here, Santa Maria. I also do have the expansion here, which adds it adds kind of an interesting thing. I think it adds a 5th player or so, but it also adds you can play as the kind of like the natives of the island, which you have a different type of player board, which operates a little differently in the game. And it's the expansion is modular, so you can add whatever parts of it you want to, so you don't have to include all parts of the expansions. But all right, that is my number 50, and that is Santa Maria. Number 49 is the game I spent the most money on, which you probably already guessed if you've seen my channel at all. Is Shadows of Brimstone, and this is just the City of the Ancients, the first core game that came out. I brought a couple of little mini, not expansions, but mini add-ons for the game, like this heroes, different hero characters can play it. This is a Drifter hero pack. This is a Gambler hero pack, which comes a little mini in it, and extra cards, and character sheet. And then it comes with, you can also get different little card packs, and tons of card packs. There's, I think, 3 right now, core sets that are out, with 2 more coming very, very soon. 2 of them are in the Old West, and one of them is in the feudal Japan, and then I think the other one is going to be the Vikings one, and Spanish Conquistador, I think, is the 5th one. But tons of content, the monsters, heroes, cards, expansions, tons of expansions, full box expansions, mini expansions, extra, minis you can buy, just all kinds of card packs, everything. Tons, you name it, it's in it. So yeah. So the reason it isn't any higher is just because it's kind of a beast to get to the table. It does have dice. It's basically dice chucking. A lot of the combat is pretty simple, but it can be involved. But it can get repetitive after a while, so you got to play it in small doses. But tons of variability, and I can see it going up in the future if I can get it to the table, and basically start some campaigns. Cat Weasel does a great playthrough on it. The Solo Gamers Club, yeah, he does a whole campaign thing on it, which I'm going to try. But definitely tons and tons of content. But be prepared. You don't have to, but be prepared to spend a lot of money on this game if you really, really want to get into it. You can probably just get a core set or a couple core sets and maybe one or two mini expansions. And you can also get what's it called? I'm trying to think of. They have scenario packs basically for you can play as the Order of the Crimson Hand, mission packs, I guess they call them. And there's, I think, 6 of them for the base game. They haven't come out with any yet that I know of for the Feudal Japan, the expansion. They have a Great Town expansions, which I do recommend to get, because there's after your missions, you go to the towns and you create cities and things like that. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that is my number 49. And it's actually ranked 478 overall. Thematic 72. Very thematic, though. And a game that I highly enjoy. Shadows of Brimstone. All right. So going on to number 48 is going to be a game that is super duper hard to win at. I've only played it solo. You can play it cooperatively too, but to me, it's just a better solo game. I enjoy it. But a very hard game with lots of missions you can complete. And you're basically on an island and trying to get off. And that is Robinson Crusoe, Adventures of the Cursed Island. And I have the older version of it, the original version, with this box, which I liked. I kind of like this box better. Yeah, I don't have any of the upgraded components or any of that stuff, but it's highly enjoyable. And it's it's ranked number 81 overall. It's by Ignacy. What's his name here? Where is he? Ignacy Trezwezek. Can't think of it. But he's also produced Predaporter and a few other games he's known for. But this is probably his most popular one. It's by Portal Games. He does a lot with Portal Games. And it's for 1 to 4 players, like I said, but it's best played, I think, solo. Or maybe with one other person, possibly. But I like to play it solo. Like I said, a super hard game. Let me just show you some of the pictures. This is basically your exploration board here, and here you're going to be putting different tools and items you can unlock and craft. You have to craft a shelter, or else you lose health very fast. You have to get food every round. Definitely get that feed your people element in it. This is one of the character sheets right here. This is actually an older version of it. It doesn't look very good. Those ugly dice. Ugh. What is going on here? I don't know what the heck is going on here. That is definitely not the version I got. Let me see if I can find. I don't know why they show these old stuff here. Those are some of the tiles. Some of the comics. Okay, this is weird. Let me see if I can show you a good. Yeah, this is kind of like the different equipment you can craft here. There's 3 different piles. There's an exploration pile. There's a crafting pile, deck. I should say deck. And there's one other deck. I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, if you want to guarantee, you get 2, I think, workers for every character you play every round. And if you put both discs on the same task, you're guaranteed success. But if you only put one disc on it, you have to roll die, which can cause injuries if you don't do it right. You can either have success or failure, V for victory, basically. And you can also, can't remember what the other one is another die in it or something else. But it's lots of bad stuff can happen. These events that you draw here too can be really bad, and they can either they can go back into the event deck every round, and they can come back to haunt you. Like you read the top part of the card for one thing, and then like it might be like you sense there's a beast around, and then you put it back in the deck, and then later on, if it comes back in the deck, you read the lower half, which means the beast attacks you or something like that. But there's different terrain types you have to unlock in order to unlock the different equipment that you can craft. You can't craft the equipment until you unlock the terrain type that in which you can get the resources to craft that particular thing. Again, you have to build a shelter. There's just all kinds of different things in it. Different scenarios, which are fun. But again, even the simplest scenario can be super hard. These are the different event card. I mean, this is one of the decks right here. It shows you the top half, Tiger, and then Tiger finds you in the bottom half. So you shuffle these into the deck. Some of them you don't do that. You can do exploration to different tiles to find resources. This is a crafting deck, I think, down below, and I'm not sure what this middle deck is. I can't remember, but 3 different types of deck all with dice. These are the die right here. Oh, morale. I think one of them is one's health, one's morale, and then oh yeah, this is the wound die right here. This is the success die, and if you don't get success, you get morale. Morale is a very big part of the game. This question mark here basically means that you have to, I think you automatically have to draw a card from it. Yeah, that determines whether or not you have to draw a card from the deck. If you get the question mark, you have to draw a card from the deck. If you don't get one, then you don't have to. So the best results on this is right here, is the victory and nothing on these 2 die. There's a weather die. I almost forgot that. The weather die. The weather can be brutal. There's weather clouds that come. There's even snow that can come. And for each weather die, each bad, like snow or rain, you have to have a certain amount of wood or and food for each round. There's a monster die right here, which different beasts can come and attack you in the night. It's brutal, but it is a fun game. It's very satisfying when you do finally win, which is not all that often. Yep, some more. I think these are all the event cards. So I think there's 2 types of cards here. There's ones with a little book on it, and there's ones with some other icon, I think. And you shuffle a certain amount of each type of card in there, and that is your event deck for the game. This is a monster deck, so basically you can beast deck. Sorry, you can get different. You have different equipment, and depending upon the level of your equipment, determines whether or not of your weapon. Depends upon whether or not you defeat the particular beast, and it shows you what you get. Like if you get hides or you get food or whatever from them. But lots of little expansions for it too. These are a lot of items in right here you can get to help you out. Some of them are like 1 or 2 time use. Some of them are permanent once you get it. So there's perishable and non-perishable food. These are the different characters you have in the game. They have special abilities, and you have to use morale tokens to to use some of the abilities on these guys. So this is one of the scenarios here. This is the one, I think the most basic one, where you have to build the bonfire to get off the island. So yeah, I think that's what it is. So that is my number 48, I think it is. Yeah, 48, Robinson Crusoe, Adventures on the Cursed Island. Okay, so following that up is a beast here. It is the 10th anniversary edition of this game. It's a zombie game, and it's a nice dice chucking game. Another game by Flying Frog Productions, and that is can show you here. Again, Last Night on Earth, the 10th anniversary edition. And this one comes with, let's see if I can show you here, comes with all kinds of cool, comes with every scenario that was produced in the game up until the point. All the, well, not all the expansion stuff, but it's got plastic tokens, plastic little gas cans, plastic wound tokens, plastic fire tokens in it. Just all kinds of good stuff. And that is right here. So it is 8.0 for the anniversary edition. So this is the original version here, 6.9, but definitely a better game, I think, than that. Probably light to medium weight, more light. Again, dice chucking goodness, but it's by Jason C. Hill, who designs all the games with Flying Frog. He and his brother mostly does the artwork, Jack Scott Hill. But definitely a fun game. Cool cards in it. Just like, let me see if I can show you here. Tons of scenarios. Let's see here. This is escaping the truck thing right here. These are the minis on it are pretty good. They're not great, but they're all right. These are the zombies right here. Modular boards, which change every game, which is kind of cool. One player can play as the zombies. One player can play as the human, the heroes. I think it's 4 heroes or 6 heroes. I can't remember how many exactly you play as. I think it's 4. You play as 4 heroes. If you get killed, you turn into a zombie hero, and then the zombie player can control the heroes after that. This is one of the plastic gas cans in the game. Must be from the 10th anniversary edition. These are the little fire things right here. This is the fire that can spread and everything, and it's pretty cool. Looks like somebody painted one of the plastic truck in it. Somebody painted the minis here, which I do not paint the minis. You can play as a dog too, which is kind of neat. But they're basically all, they're in a town, and you have the town sheriff, the high school football player, the farmer's daughter, the drifter. Drifter's in a bunch of these games, Flying Frog games, but these are the zombies all painted up. Sam the cook there, he's pretty cool. Yeah. Some of these are from the expansions too. Nurse Becky, and then Amanda. I think Rochelle is from the expansions or something like that too. But father, a Catholic priest, old Betsy, sheriff and the deputy's son, Kenny the grocery store clerk. They're pretty cool. Ooh, that's got all kinds of blood on it. Yeah, so this is it looks like the regular version here. Looks like somebody gets some extra minis in it or something. These are the fire tokens. Different, like I said, modular boards. You have the depth track if you're familiar with Flying Frog games. We have depth tracks. It's kind of like the darkness track in Shadows of Brimstone a little bit. But they all have a similar track. If you get to the end of it and you haven't won yet, then you lose the game. Yeah, some different tokens. Tons of tokens like any other Flying Frog game. Tons of cards. Cheesy cards, but with actual photos on it, with actors on it, which I like. Some people don't like them, but I like them. Yeah, and that is tons of dice. And that is the 10th anniversary edition of Last Night on Earth, which is my number 47, I think it is, yeah. Okay, number 46 is the next one, and that is the King's Guild, which I think is a highly underrated game. It's got a BG. It's on BGA. They did an implementation on that. It's a medium weight Euro game, which you're gonna be completing. I wouldn't say Euro. Well, kind of Euro. It's victory points. You're gonna be completing quests, basically fulfilling orders for adventurers. So basically, centuries ago, the Kingdom of Grey Castle was founded through a pact between the great guild leaders of the realm. So you're trying to become the best guild after the king dies. to try to take over the country, and you're going to be filling orders. There's hand management in it. There's set collection, variable player powers. I originally got this on Kickstarter. This is the only game I think produced by Matthew Austin, which is a shame because it's a great game. It's definitely a hidden gem, I think. I'll just show you some of the photos here, and I'll show you the actual game, which is kind of. Usually, I can tell how much I like the game by the wear on the game. There's wear on the boxes and everything. So this is it right here. Great production, nice thick player boards and thick boards in it and everything. Like I said, it's on BGA. They did which I was surprised to see, but it's really fun on BGA too. So that's the King's Guild there. That's the cover. This is like a player board here, and what you're going to place your guild card right here over this main part here, and then you can unlock, free resources on it, and you can build different rooms on here. End game scoring rooms, character rooms, stuff like that. This is an example of a quest you can complete. So basically what you do is you end up having 2 guild seals, 2 guild crests, I guess, which are kind of neat, which I'll try to find one and show you later. But basically what you do is on your turn you can either collect resources, complete orders, or purchase a room and or character. So those are basically the 3 things you can do on your turn. There's some free actions you can do too with selling treasure cards and stuff. But for instance, there's also the set collection thing here that you're going to try to collect these icons in the upper right here, which depending upon what rooms come out in the game, depending upon the player count, you'll want to collect different sets of crests and everything. There's basic resources, which are hides, I think wood, clothing, and iron, I think it is. And then there's 2 resources which you can only collect if you unlock or purchase the room that uses them. Like there's magic vials right here. There's purple things, and then there's green gems. And those, not everyone in the game is necessarily going to be able to have access to them. You can collect 3 of the same resource or 2 of a combination of resources every round, and that's your turn basically. If you can complete half the quest or one of the, like you can complete either the magic pants or the bow. So if you have the resources, say you have a hide and you have a magic token here, you put your crest in there, complete the quest, get your 5 gold here, and then either you, which is usually you, or somebody else can like complete the bow. If you complete the bow, then you get the card, and you get the treasure cards here down below. You get a blue treasure card and a gold treasure card, which different colored cards have different things in them. Different either gold or loot or more prevalent things in them. They all have basically the same things, but some are more prevalent. Like the gold one has more money in it, and these ones might have more of a set. The blue ones might have more of a set collection thing in it. I'm not sure exactly what they are. But anyway, a certain amount of quests will come out, and then the king will die, and then you make a tribute to the king, and whoever has the biggest tribute gets the king's statue or whatever, and you get to put it on your player board. It's worth a certain amount of victory points. But anyway, if somebody else completes the card here, you complete half of it, and somebody else completes the other half. The first person to complete the quest on it gets the card itself and gets access to all these icons. So that's why normally the same player will complete the whole thing, because the other player that completes it still gets the money for the item that he completed, and I think he gets first choice of either the blue card or the yellow card in this case, and then because the other player will get the leftover card and the actual quest card. You really want to collect these quest cards there, because that's where you get the most points from the set collection stuff there. Let's see here. This is an example of a worker you can hire. So on a turn, you can buy a room and or buy a character. These characters are worth victory point. Like this guy's worth 1 victory point, costs 4 gold. They come out in a certain order, and so basically, if nobody picks this character and it slides down, sometimes you get a discount on them by having gold on top of them every round if a character doesn't get picked. Near the end of that's been out for a while, they'll get gold on them, so they'll be cheaper. This basically, every time you take a resources with this hand thing here, you get an extra wood. So it gives you extra resources. There's other different powers on them too. This is an example of a card here. You can either use it for its power or you can sell it. This one gives 2 resources of the same type. It's like a free action, and the next player will gain a good too. So you determine when you want to use it. These are the different guilds in here. So they have different powers. Some of them give you extra. You can hold extra resources. Some of them give you some starting resources. Like this one gives you, I think, either 2 hides or a 2 cloth, or a combination of cloth and hide. The religious one, I think, in here, it gives you an extra, like a shrine or something like that, which is worth a certain amount of victory points. This is the player board, really nicely done. All the information you need is on this too. It gives you the whole setup here is on the board. It tells you how many resources to put out depending upon the player count. These right here are the quests that come out. There's like basically phase 1 and phase 2, which is, the king dies in the middle of it. And then at the end of the game, you can either take an action as normal when the end of the game is triggered, when a certain card comes out, the end card basically, or you can make a tribute to the council, which you got to weigh that, which you can basically, depends upon how many resources you have and how much gold you have, you can make a tribute there. So you may want to do that, or you may, if your turn is really powerful at the end, you may want to do that instead. Up top here, there's basic rooms you can get, and then there's specialty rooms that you can hire. And the basic rooms are the same every game, but the specialty rooms can change from game to game. And the amount of rooms that come out depend upon the player count, stuff like that too. The resources are limited, so but once they get spent on crafting the item, they go back into the pool. So you may have to wait a little bit if people are holding on to resources. So yeah, it can be very tight, but it's a really fun game. These are the coins. These are the resources. Resources are really nice and everything in it. Production value is really good. Yeah, different type of cards you can get here. The set collection in it too. These are some of the different characters you can get. This guy will let you hold 2 more of an item. This guy. These are immediate effects here. One-time effects. This is an ongoing effect, which gives you an extra iron. This guy, I don't know, basically allows you to break some rule in the game or give you there's a cool one too, which is kind of like an oracle, which allows you to look at the next 2 cards in the that are going to come out, so you can plan better. I like getting that card. And I also like the one where you can double the amount of selling scrolls. There's a helper that gives you double the amount of selling scrolls or certain items, which is kind of neat. So this right here is kind of a player board with some rooms built on it, resources on it. Got some end game scoring on it, looks like, and it's got some magic tokens you can get in an extra storage unit. So yeah, but a very fun game, definitely one I enjoy. That is the King's Guild, my number 46, I think it is. Okay, next is the game I do not have a copy of because it is a baseball game, and it is a stat-based baseball game. It's my highest baseball sim on it, and those of you who follow my channel know I play this a lot. I play just about every game by this company. It's basically you have to input what you input. Is just like playing the card game in it. I play mostly the computer version of it, but basically playing that version is almost like playing the board game version. I do have a couple seasons of the board game version, which I don't play a lot of, but like when you see it, you'll know, and if you know the game at all, you'll understand that basically playing it. It's basically like a helper is what it is the PC game. A little bit more advanced than that, but it is a really fun game, and that is Inside Pitch Baseball. Again, real high rating. It's 8.1. Probably limited. 1 and 2 players. It's basically a solo game. You never play it unless you can play. Well, if you're playing the card and dice version, you can play it 2 players. But for the most part, I think most people play it solo. Unless they're playing, you can play tournaments and stuff with it too. You can do a draft league, that kind of stuff. The reason I like the computer version is it does all the charts and everything for you. Kind of, you still have to input the stuff in it. Let me show you some pictures. This is the actual PC version, but basically, you can manually roll the die if you want to. I think maybe not. Well, you can manually roll a die, yeah, because basically what you're doing is it doesn't matter. It'll have to roll the die automatically. It rolls 2 die here in the pitcher and then for the batter, and when 2d6s, and it doesn't matter what it really rolls here. You have to still input it is. Like even if it rolls like a 5-1, you could input 3-3, so you can roll your own die and just put what you want in here. And depending upon what comes up on the pitcher's card, that will determine like if it's got a K version on it here, it'll cross-reference the batter card and see what his it also rolls a d20 also. It goes 2d6s and a d20. So it'll cross-reference the batter card to see if it really is a walk or like I said, there's parts, certain plays like home runs and stuff can be off the pitcher's card or the batter's card, a combination of both. Different charts will come out on the bottom here in this area. You can add player photos, although it can be a little tricky to do that, and logos and stuff you can put in it. But the cards, it definitely gives the feel of like no other game. Even compared to Stratomatic, I think this gives you definitely more of the cards and dice feel. Although, Stratomatic does add the cards to it, but I like this better because it does, you click on, and if you click on the wrong thing, it's going to cause the wrong result. So it really is truly like a tabletop simulator in that case. But it does have its issues with the PC version, but I do enjoy this game, and it is Inside Pitch Baseball, my number 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, 45, I think it is, 45, yep. All right, so Inside Pitch Baseball. All right, next up is my number 44, and that is, hopefully I get the numbers right. I tried to put this in order. I don't have my iPad with me here. Well, I do have it here, but I'm not using it right now. So it is Fayum, and it is by Friedman Freeze, or if you know him at all, he did Power Grid, which may or may not be on this list a little higher up, possibly. Hint, hint. But he's basically a designer that's either hit or miss. This is definitely one of the hits for me, and I think for a lot of people it is. It's got a 7.5 rating. It's only ranked 1135 overall, but I think it deserves better than that. It's got a solo version of the game, which is okay. It's still fun. It gives you a taste of the game, but definitely this game shines with the multiplayer. I don't think I would go 5 players. I've only gone 3 players in solo, but I think 3 players is kind of like a sweet spot in it. Possibly 4, but 5 I think it would just be too long. Graphic design is not there, but it's still a really fun game. It's a game where you're playing in Egypt. The resources are really cool. If you're familiar with his first Sparks game, which is kind of like a caveman version of Power Grid, kind of a little bit. The resources are a lot the same, like the grapes, I think, and the fish, and some of the wheat, and I think some of the other stuff in it. These building tokens are very generic-y, and the wood tokens for the roads are very generic-y. The crocodiles are pretty cool, or alligators, crocodiles, I think they are pretty cool. But basically, let me see if I can show you the actual game itself. The money for some reason is dollars, even though it's set in Egypt. This is the actual board right here, which is I think it's okay. It's functional. Um, it does have the market here, like kind of like Power Grid does. It has the current market, which are these bottom 4 cards, and then the top, which are the future cards. You get to see what's going to come out in the future. Um, you start off with a set of cards, and like it enables you to build roads, put farmers out, collect resources, um, basic stuff there. And what's cool about it is that let me see if I can show you some of the cards in it too. Let's see here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see there. Yeah, this is kind of a game in progress here with the crocodile. You have to clear the land of the crocodiles, and you get money for clearing the tiles with the crocodiles on them. These are little cities that you build here, towns and cities, which you can link up, build roads between them, and deliver workers or build temples right here. But they do have cards that are regular, like everybody gets a certain set of cards, the same set of cards, but there's unique cards too, which if you don't get the card, then you can't perform a certain action. So it's kind of a race to get to those certain nice cards. More powerful cards come out more towards the end, of course. There is a buyback system. So basically, after you play most of your cards, you got to determine the order you play your cards in, because at the end you get like a certain amount of cards back for free. I think it's like your first 3 cards or so back for free, but after that you have to pay, I think $1 per card you get, and money can be tight at first, especially. So cards that are going to be buried at the bottom that you play first, especially when your deck gets bigger and bigger, eventually you're going to not be able to afford those cards, and those cards are going to be gone for the game because they're going to be so far down and buried. So there's a system there where you got to kind of decide what order you play your cards in. But a very fun game. The game ends, I think all the natural disasters come out at the end of the game, and that's the end of the game. But yeah, it's a very strategic game. This, like I said, the solo game is okay, but you can basically do whatever you want in the solo game. The whole thing is depending upon what order the cards come out. That's basically the only thing you manage in the solo game there. And it is more expensive to buy back your cards in the solo game too. But it gets to give you a taste of the game. But definitely multiplayer is where this game shines. And those are the cards right here, so I can show you a little close up. Probably not going to be able to. Yeah, I guess you can see them right there. Like I said, the iconography is pretty good in these cards. They came out with all even cards here, so I think they might be adding an expansion with the odd numbered cards. So I think they are coming out with an expansion. I'm not sure if it's going to add cards to it or if it's just a mini expansion that they have on BGG right now. I looked at it, but I didn't think it was a full expansion yet. But yeah, definitely a fun game. It's definitely a hit for me. That's Friedman Freeze's Fayum. Alright, next up is my number 43, I believe we're at. Hopefully I get these right. It is Louis Rosenberg game called Mercator. And this is, to me, kind of one of his unsung games if you're a Yui fan, you know about it, but if you're not really deep into his games, you probably don't know this game. It's a little different than some of his games in it. It's a trading game. Where you're visiting cities to collect goods or fulfill orders. And you're collecting resources, but it's people can follow you on your turn too, which is kind of neat. There's contracts you fulfill on your board, and this is like a player board here. At the end of the game, you score, I think, full value for the contracts that are on your board, and then only half value for the ones that are off your board each round. The contracts do get more powerful and worth more victory points at the end. This is like a time track here. You have to collect a certain amount of time and spend time in it. These are the different resources in here. which if you're familiar with Raycolt, it's kind of like the little vegetable containers here. Each colored resource um, they're just cubes, but they can be two different types of resources. Um, it's got a little colonialistic type feel in it. There's a warehouse right here that you're trying to fill up, and you can get bonus cards and bonus resources during the game. You get like I think one of every resource here, or every colored resource, which you can spend during the game. But yeah, it's a very satisfying game. Not super heavy, but I do like the follow mechanism in this game. You can decide whether or not you want to follow somebody on their treks here, and the way it replenishes is kind of neat too. When you visit a certain area, anything that's connected to it will get extra resources because trade is starting. It's an affluent region, so the other regions will get more resources on them, and it's different bonuses you can get. So it's a fun little game. Um, and that is my number. You have to put together these things right here, the resource holders. Yeah. On this guy right here, Michael Weisner or something like that, this guy on the right here, he does a lot of great, I can't think of the exact name, but Michael Wisner or Weisner, he's German, but he has a great channel and he's on my subscription list, definitely, but he gives a lot of great like playthroughs of different Euro games, especially. A lot of Uwe Rosenberg, Stefan Feld type games. Let's see here. Yeah, and that is my number 43, I think, Mercator. All right, so number 42 is Carpe Diem, a Stefan Feld game, which I do not have. Let's see here. Do I have the Mercator? Yeah, Mercator's right here. I'll just quickly show you that. Boom. Here it is. Boom. I think I might have got this in a trade. Yeah. And let's see. Here it is. I have the first version of it, which is, I like this one better, and I'll tell you why. Carpe Diem. Very generic cover and everything. Doesn't look very exciting, but it is a very fun game. Again, 7.5. 363 overall. Strategy 224. Came out in 2018. Again, Stefan Feld, my favorite designer. And here is what I really like about this game. And notice this here. So this is where you're going to be doing tile drafting in the game and filling a tableau with different tiles and completing buildings and getting resources and scoring, kind of scoring end game scoring, but intermittent end game scoring. Not really at the end, but after each round there's going to be a scoring kind of thing, which is kind of neat. And I'll show you that in a little bit. But this is the original Carpe Diem, which I have. And this right here, you see the lines in the middle here? So basically you have workers in all these, you have your worker at one position here. And he can go anywhere these lines connect to. Like he can go where the blue is right here, and he can go where this, between the blue and the yellow here. Those are the only two areas that he can go in on his normal turn, unless he spends like bread, I think it is, in order to go anywhere on the map in these. But he can only choose from the tiles that are left here. There's 4 tiles in a 4-player game. Well, I think there's 4 tiles in most games, but they'll disappear after a certain amount of taken if there's less than 4 players in the game. But what I like about this is that it's kind of like you have to figure out, what can I get to here. In the remake of this, or the second edition of this, they got rid of this thing in the middle here. I don't know why, but it's just really boring that you can just go to the right or to the left here, and it's not as exciting, and I think it definitely takes away from the game. In fact, Rado originally had this as his number 1 game for the year in that 2018 when it came out, but after they changed it, he took it off because I think it does make a difference in here. But anyway, that's one of the cool mechanisms in the game. These are your player boards right here, which you're going to be drafting the tiles. I think it's 4 rounds, I want to say. And you're going to be building rooms in here, and you get bonuses depending upon what types of rooms you complete here. This is kind of a little chart show you, this gives you a summary of the actions you can take. Yeah, this is a kind of a player board where this guy built a lot of brick rooms here, and then he built some games where he got different herbs or different fish and different rooms that produce different resources and things like that. Let's see if I can show you that. Yeah, this is a game right near the end here. There's also I think it's called a banderole track, which determines your turn order, and you get little banderole tokens right here, like this here has one on it. So we can show you. Yeah, if you place a tile over the area that has a banderole token, you go up on the track more. You get victory point cards, which is kind of weird, but it works. This right here is if you have a certain amount of brown rooms, you get a certain amount of points at the end of the game. These are hidden goals you can get. You can get extra goal cards during the game. One thing that isn't great in this game is a lot of the colors here, like this yellow and this yellow brown and the brown here. It can sometimes be hard to tell apart. There's back sides of these tiles, and some of them are light green and some of them are dark green, and it's hard to separate them because you need to separate certain tiles. Some are used during the rounds, and some you use as bonus tokens, and sometimes they can be hard to sort out. Very minor gripe, but they fixed that in the expansion. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's not loading for some reason. Let's see if I can. Oops. Am I connected? I'm not sure. Anyway, it doesn't want to load. But anyway, that's Carpe Diem, my number 42. All right, we got one more, and this is a very popular game. It is a re-implementation of an Uwe Rosenberg game. Makes the game a lot looser and less tight. It's a farming game. You can, it's got dwarves in it, and you probably guessed it right now if you know any Uwe Rosenberg games. And this is called Caverna, the Cave Farmers. So this is a pretty heavy game, 3.78 they say here. Play 1 to 7 players, and you basically are dwarves, and you're farming and building furnishings in your cave. I'll just show you a player board here. This is your farm area right here, and then this is your cave area. And you start out with 2 dwarves, and you can add extra dwarves in the game. And it's kind of like card-driven. Not card-driven, but there's actually no cards in the game other than the work replacement areas. So it is a work replacement game. Let's see if I can show you here. This is kind of a game in progress here where you built different farmland, you build stables, you build pens for your animals. In this game, you can have as many animals of each kind as you want. There's no like limitations or penalties, that kind of stuff. Well, it's penalties if you don't have any of something, but let's see here. Yeah, so that's like your player board there. So this is before the game starts. You can build different rooms in the game. Let's see here. Let's see if I can show you here. This is a game that definitely begs for an insert. Yeah. That's Uwe Rosenberg right there. So basically the game is going to, like Agricola, it's going to take place over a certain amount of rounds. And there's going to be harvests after, a certain amount of cards come out. There's replenishment of these different areas right here. They'll get more and more resources in if they're not taken. It's definitely a battle to get to these areas you want to go to, get cards you want to go to. So basically, during the different rounds, there's like 3 cards a round, and they come out in different order. That's the only thing. The same 3 cards that come out in every round, but there'll be a different order they come out in. So it's kind of samey a little bit, but there's enough variety that it doesn't get that stale. Yeah, this is a different version of the game. This is, yeah, definitely it can be a table hog. Yeah, this is a game where somebody completed their whole board here. You get extra workers. You can also go on quests and missions to get extra equipment and stuff. So it's got a little more variety in it, I think, than Agricola does. But it doesn't have the cards in it like Agricola does. And they have to play, like occupations and things like that. It's got more like tiles and rooms you build and everything, which is kind of neat. Like I said, definitely begs for an insert. I don't have one, but definitely one that you want to get with this. But definitely a fun game. Oh, did I lose it again? I probably lost it again. No, didn't lose. Okay, we get the connection back. Okay, good. But anyway, that is my number 41, Caverna, the Cave Farmers. So stay tuned next week, and I will bring you, after we do our thing with ID Jester, Phoenix Knight, and Lower Slower Blood Gamer, I'll bring you my number 40 to 31. So going to give you a little summary of that. Definitely a little bit shorter than my other videos, which is good. So that is my number 50 to 41 of my top 100 games of all time as of April 2023. Well, now May, but I made the list in April, which already I've got some possibilities of changes. So take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next stream, our next set of 10. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye now.